we pray to what we call God for answers, Rod, does God pray to us for questions to understand who it is? Like, is it like a reverse thing? God needs questions and we need answers. So God is praying us for questions and we praying to God for answers. Is it something like that?
God don't ask questions because God don't need answers. That's part of your your physical reality. Q&A is part of being in the 3D realm. Okay, so you're born, but you don't come with a manual. But yes, you do. It's called your book of life, but you don't remember how to read it because it's written in the elements around you. Your interpretation of the reality is how you read your book of life. The better you know yourself, the better you read your book of life. That's your operational manual. But you have to be self-aware. The sooner you self-aware, the more you can do to read your book of life and perform your functions better. But the 3D realm, we are holding everything from a 3D perspective in our mental states. We're not saying, how do God look at this situation? If I'm God, how would I see this? And it starts taking some of the suffering away because it starts to become humorous. And then you start to realize, I just cracked a joke on myself. I pulled a prank, a long drawn out prank on myself. Did nobody do it but me because I'm the only person that know me that well. Nobody else don't know me good enough to know that I'm going to look here and this is what I'm going to be looking for when I look here. I'm the only one know me that good, so I must have hid it here so I can find it later. Right? And then this is how you picking out your sentences and your word selection that writes your book of life. You had to know yourself enough to know that you left yourself clues.
Right.
You left yourself clues into the exhuming of the self. Now, all you trying to remember is how to find the clues. But we lost track of that because they took them all into the secret society, the sciences of how to read the clues at birth.
Right.
They don't tell us about naming ceremonies and asking the baby their name over and over every day until they tell you where you can hear a clear and coherent name.
So we're not
It normally take 9 months and the baby will say a name. That's their name.
Okay. Okay.
But normally, you know, that's an old tribal tradition. You know, the old ladies sit around talking about, don't you mark that child, right? Don't talk bad about people because while you pregnant, because you're going to mark the child to come out with that negative trait. Right? But if you can mark your child with positive traits the same way. Right? So the elder women in our community, they've been talking about it in our face the whole time, but we didn't know what they was talking about. They was giving us clues because one day we gonna get it all. We gonna have a big old bag of puzzle pieces, and then we gonna say, "Well, let me put this puzzle together and see what it look like."
Right.
And that's when the humor of the universe hit you right in your solar plexus, and all your pain and suffering was a harsh practical joke that you played on yourself because you was the only person that knew you well enough on how to play that practical joke on yourself while you was playing human to snap you out of the slumber.
Yeah. Ain't that son? Ain't that some shit, right? Wow.
We all in on our part. Look, all of the stuff we go through in our lifetime, we know it before we take on the life.
Right.
Before we come, but we forget.
Yeah.
Because we have to mature enough to live the life as the adult. But the youth and the childhood is the training for what you're going to be an adult. And if you forego parts of your training, you're going to go back over it. It's going to come in a different form until you get the lesson. Everybody book a life like that. That's the backflip.
Right.
You ever hear somebody say, you monkey flipping? That's what they're talking about. You keep backflipping over the lesson till you get it. Right? But the gurus, the shamans, the swamis, the yogis, the Hayokas, they all sit in a room and review the life in meditation until they see where they was learning the lesson and say, oh, that's the lesson. I don't want to live that one no more. So let me mark that off the book so I won't go through that no more.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a test gonna come up because you wrote the test and you the only one know you well enough to write the test to determine if you ready to live your best life. Can't nobody write your test but you. Can't nobody write your book but you.
Mm-hmm.
But you can let other people make you abandon your book to help them finish theirs.
Right.
That's called selling your soul.
Ooh. Ooh.
You abandon your book of life to build somebody else's book of life.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to go back and fulfill it, even if you have to reincarnate in a different life. You're going to have to, because you made that promise to yourself. Mm-hmm. And the only promise you can't never break is the one you make to yourself, because you're going to find a way to always make sure you deliver.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The same as lying to yourself. You're going to always know you lying when you told that lie to yourself. So we sitting in church trying to force ourselves to believe something that we don't believe. Because the preacher said it. Who the hell is he? What make what he's saying out that book more valid than what I hear in my heart? But they tell us to forego what we hear in our heart to follow what that man told us was in that book. They told me that book was the word of God and how powerful God was. I said, then you shouldn't need to open that book to prove it's the word of God. Soon as they open it, I take them right to the part that say that anybody that testify themselves testify a lie. Because they finna take me to the part of the book that says that this is the book of God. So if you need to use the book of God to prove to me it's the book of God, it's not the book of God, it's a lie. Because anything that testify of itself testify of a lie. If you can't show who you is in the world around you, it don't matter who you think you is on the world within. You haven't learned to express yourself yet openly. Therefore, you keep yourself in seclusion until you're ready to express yourself openly. That's called letting your light shine into the world. Everybody got something to offer, but the societies we live in forces us to forego what we have to offer to the world in order to accept what the world is trying to force upon us. That's the nature of the 3D, because you have to have the opposites. You got to have the polar opposites, the twin pillars, severity and mercy, the stressor and the buffer, in order to learn the lessons of life. And you take a roller coaster ride while you learning.
Let me ask you this, Rod. Does we're talking about life and what we call death. Does being cremated versus being
that's better. That's way better.
Okay. All right. So Rod, speaking of life and what we call death, let's talk about cremation and being buried. Does that impact where you go? If we're talking about the afterlife, we're talking about different realms. Does that impact where you go or how long it takes you to get somewhere once you leave this realm? Does it have an impact on the afterlife?
No.
So it doesn't matter. Like you would recommend, is it you like?
So me, I tell people like this: I don't give a damn what you do with me when I'm dead. You can put me in a box and drop me in the dirt. You can put me on here and let the vultures eat me. Either way, I wouldn't give a damn, because I ain't in there to experience it. Right? But the reason I say that is when you leave the body and you're going to get another meat suit. It might be 5 years in the future. It might be 5,000 years in the future. But you're going to get another meat suit if you choose to come back to Earth.
Right.
Look, while we here, we kicking and screaming, we ain't never coming back to do this shit again until the next time we come back.
You said until the next time.
When you eternal being to live 50, 60, 120 years on Earth, it's like having recess in elementary school. You can't wait for the bell to ring.
Damn.
You get to come into this and experience stuff that's not part of the spirit realm.
Yeah.
The physical world is unique in that way. And it was created for that purpose, because it was another expression of higher consciousness finding ways for spirit to have something to do for eternity.
Right. Right.
We don't just want to be a beam of light forever,
Right.
just floating through the infinite darkness as a beam of light and
Yeah.
never stop. No, sometimes we want to take a pit stop.
Right.
Right? We might want to go to the rest stop, grab a bag of chips. But when you a beam of light flying through darkness, you can't do none of that. You can't complain about nothing. You got nothing to complain about. Everything is just in a state of perfection in the spirit realm. So you need something that's imperfect in order to accelerate or enhance or accentuate your experience. So you come into the physical world blind, deaf, and dumb to determine if you can awaken in the slumber to your true self. We all know we're going to wake up to our true self at some point. And most of the time in our book of life, the point we wake up is 30 minutes after we so-called die. Because that's when we get to go over all of the joys and the pains, because ain't no joy and pain in the spirit realm. It's all information.
It's just information.
It's information. It's just light.
But Rod, isn't that kind of robotic? It almost, the way you describe the spirit world, it almost seems kind of robotic. Robots don't have emotions. They don't experience joy, happiness, sadness. The spirit realm almost sound robotic, Rod.
Because robots is designed off the beings in the spirit realm. They're not designed after humans. They designed after the beings in the spirit realm. They data on Star Trek.
Yeah.
Right? And they trying to figure out the dichotomy between Kirk and Spock.
Right.
The robot, look, artificial intelligence can only go to the fourth dimension and then it breaks down. That's why I would never be fearful of artificial intelligence ever becoming to a point where it can take over humanity.
That ain't
happening. It can never outthink the God mind. The God mind it's got 21 dimensional it pings, the thought pings. It's an encryption code. The artificial intelligence only got a 4-bit quantum encryption. The human intelligence is a 21-bit quantum encryption over 19 dimensions. So it can never become as wise as the gods when they come into the flesh. He will always outthink artificial intelligence. All you got to do is cause it to jam, an information overload. If you join from the 5th dimension, you can easily give a artificial sensory overload to somebody in the 4th dimension, because when they come into the 3rd, they're going to say they had a nightmare. That's an information overload. It comes out as you see in the entropy. All of that dark evil stuff, that's entropy. Right? And all of that beautiful, gorgeous stuff, that's the harmony of unison, the oneness. Right? That's efficiency, 100% pure efficiency. It's funny to me because everything I'm saying, everybody notice when they're not in their physical form, but in the physical form, it sounds like I'm talking crazy as hell.
Oh man. For real. Damn.
That's like saying if you keep training dogs, one day we're gonna wake up and they're gonna be walking us on the leash. Listen, the dog needs certain qualities that's not part of his genome to give him the capability to conquer the human. It's not in his genetic makeup and his genetic code. He might be able to attack one of us and eat us up, but he not finna outthink us. Especially when we know the nature of the canine. Once you know when the human know the nature of something, that thing can't conquer the human no more. But soon as something is mysterious in nature, it creates that cognitive dissonance, that moment of confusion, and that's when the serpent strike.
Right.
But as soon as you become aware of what you're dealing with, man, that shit don't work on you no more.
Mm.
That stuff don't work on you no more. That's why I had to tell you who put the conjure in play, what the conjure did, how it worked, where it's at, who done it. Because when more of us recognize this, oh, it don't work on us no more. We woke now. You put me to sleep with a blood ritual on a constitutional mandate with one of the chief's blood, because the blood of the righteous not be spilled in blood. It don't work on me no more.
Mm.
That spell is at that point broke.
Right.
Any spell that's on something only works because they don't understand what it is and the mechanics of it. Your spirit body will automatically protect you when you learn the nature of the spell. That's part of the free will universe rules. But as long as you're in ignorance and you are doing nothing to change your ignorance level, then you're allowed to stay in bondage until you decide to wake up. Right? Because when you're not in the mental state to lead yourself, you need a shepherd to lead the sheep. Otherwise, you got the blind leading the blind straight into a ditch.
Damn, bro. This some deep stuff, man.
Look, it's not deep though. It's real simple. It seems deep because it's so basic. It's basic understanding from the higher realms that we turn off on purpose because we don't want to offend the rest of the people who ain't woke up yet. Because we tiptoeing through grandma's house because we got the uncles and aunties in these different rooms sleep. And if we wake one of them up, they going to come out yelling, and that's going to wake the rest of them up. Now, everybody yelling at all the kids. So we don't want to wake nobody up. So when we start to wake up, we start to isolate. We don't wake nobody else up too soon. And the system design is that, wait a minute, ain't nobody tell you to wake up before everybody else. And it punishes you. Remember Dick Gregory saying, you know what's dangerous is when the universe pick you. But when the universe pick you, you put these glasses on, you can't take them off.
Yeah.
What I say? Huh? What I say? Huh? Hit me?
Yeah.
Hit me? Bobby Dick or something else.
He was something else. I mean, he was something else, man. Oh man. Shout out to Dick Gregory, man. Bless his soul. Yeah, let's get to some Q&A from the family. We're gonna do a brief. We at the 50-minute mark. We're gonna do a quick Q&A. Give me some questions. Wow, this is powerful, right, y'all? Damn, I had Q Reeves on, then I had Blue Pill, then it's been the last 3 days been fire, y'all. Oh man, these brothers been going in the last 4 days.
Hey, I finally got to link up with Dane Calloway on Legendary Top Cat on the Three Chief combo.
Right.
Man, the people ate that up. But we had such a smooth conversation, right? Because we all, we don't have a fundamental difference to separate us. Because we all know what's going on a different level for regular people. Our conversation is more of where your blind spot at. Oh, I see. This is where your blind spot at. Let me see yours. Okay, that's your blind. So we enhancing each other's perception. This is the purpose of steel sharpens steel. When two men come together, it's like steel sharpens steel. But man, we've been on the rock. Look, between what you've been doing, Young Elder been doing, and I've been doing independent, man, we've been on fire. We've been on fire. For real. We've been on fire. The people is starting to see all of the stuff that we've been saying over the last couple of years since me and you first met. You've been doing this half your life.
No, facts.
You know what I'm saying? At least. Yeah. And then you people don't know, Brother Rich, when you was over there with Sarnetta, you sat with some head banging heavy hitters.
Oh yeah.
And they was from both sides of the fence. right? They come from different backgrounds, different schools of thought. They all swear they right with somebody else reference.
Indeed. Yeah. Facts, man.
I'm
Wow.
gonna argue this man pointing to you submit.
Man, oh man. Wow.
But you done been with some big wigs, so you was being trained according to your book of life by
Mm-hmm.
being exposed to the people based on your character
Mm-hmm.
that would allow you to see your vision for yourself and your family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody could call Rich at the wrong time and you answer the phone and say, yeah, brother, I look like talk to you, but it's family time right now. I'm gonna have to catch you later. And
Yeah.
they not gonna never get offended
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because of who you are and the way you do your business and the way you tend to your family. We understand what you're doing. So when you say that, it's like, okay, bro, holler when you can.
Yeah. No facts.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you got your structure.
Yeah.
And then you got to sit around people and watch other people do it while you was growing up. You probably was still in high school watching that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Most of us don't have that luxury, brother.
Mm.
Most of us don't have that luxury to sit around the tight. I mean, some of the people that came through Sarnetta since you was there, man.
Man, amazing people.
I mean, like James Smalls. That's one by itself right there.
Yeah.
The professor, the one Tupac called right before he died.
That was James Small, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm thinking about another one. That was
Professor Copper?
yeah,
Or
him too. But all them guys was there. Brother Valentine was there. You got
Delbert
to see them in the early days. Delbert Blair. You got
Yo,
to see these people.
yo, Rod, Delbert Blair, I'm gonna tell you, if you ever met him in person, he had a unique energy to him. He, out of everybody I've met, he felt like an extraterrestrial. You know what he felt like? He felt like a beam of light. You know how you go around certain people and they, it's a person. Blair's energy. That dude felt like a beam of light, bro. Like he was
Listen,
light. Dude was
I
light, bro.
didn't know nothing about who Delbert Blair was when I was about 12 years old. We was staying in this. We was visiting my auntie in Chicago. It was 75th overall exchange somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister's boyfriend at the time used to always go listen to his lectures.
Mm.
And one day he brought him home with him. And this was like 80, maybe 81.
Mm.
And I couldn't stop looking at this dude. And I didn't know why. I was like, I can't take my eyes off him. It was like he was polarizing to me. But remember, I don't know nothing about nothing at this time.
Mm.
I don't even know who Farrakhan is yet.
Mm.
Right. But I'm looking at this dude. I'm like, this dude ain't regular.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could do is just compare him to me. I'm like, he kind of not regular, like I'm not regular.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to talk to my mom. I said, who was that man? And she said, I can't tell you who he was, but just know he was somebody that you needed to see at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That, and then I didn't find out who he was till years later.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
caught
man.
him when I first started. Okay, so it's a brother that I was locked up with named Hart Eel.
Mm-hmm.
Hart Eel had all of the heavy hitters cassettes. And I used to go through them. And one of them was, I think was Dr. Delbert Blair.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm gonna find this dude when I get home. He in Chicago.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. But I didn't get to go to Chicago when I got home because I ended up having to take care of my mama because the day after I came home, she virtually died.
Mm. Sorry to hear that.
Right. So she stayed in the coma for like 6 days. And then, she come out the coma. So I ended up not going to Chicago. So I started researching, looking for him in the internet back then. And I finally found some videos of them, but they wasn't YouTube videos. They was on somebody's website. And I was watching. I'm like, man, this dude right here.
Mm.
And then I was just on Delbert Blair for a while.
Yeah, man. That was shit. Like I said, Blair, a lot of them, man. Bobby Hemmett. They was Richard King. They was just on the next level, man. But let's get to
Man,
some. What you say, Rod?
I love to have met Dr. Richard King.
Yeah, I never got to meet him. I never got to meet him. I would have loved to
That
have
that
met him.
black dot science, a lot of people don't know that's black root science, black dot science, melanin science, the science of the nine ether. When you go through Dr. Carol Byrne, Dr. Rich King, then you go get Afro Unu, then you go to Jamaica for the Holy Pibby and the Sacred Parchment Scroll of Black Supremacy. And you start seeing that they talk different languages, but it's a key thread to all of this information. This is what they call African root science. It's a cold piece of work.
Indeed.
Putting it
If y'all want to show some love to the brother Rod, I know you're always asking about the brother's Cash App. I know a lot of y'all remember it, but I got to put it on the screen regardless. $ sick, yeah, SIKAPE, $ SikApe. You want to show love and support to the brother for providing us. The brother's been rocking with me for about 2 or 3 years now, and it's just every single show has been action-packed, electrifying, filled with information from start to the end of it. So make sure you'll show love to the brother Rod Hayes on the Cash App, $ SikApe, that's SIKAPE. With that being, galactic event. Somebody, the Gathering of the Masters is a galactic event. That's what it is. It's a galactic event. That's what it is. But let me put this on the screen one time. Let's get to some questions. Okay, Rod. Is it okay to have to cut off my parents due to my own growth, like they're addicts stuck in abusive relationships? They lack accountability and respect, Rod.
Listen,
cut off big mama, Rod. That's a hard one.
It is. But remember, birds push they chicks out the nest so they know they can fly. Sometimes the behavior of the parents mean go get yourself together.
I'll be right back.
Go get yourself together and then come back and deal with us later if you have the love for them. But some people, abuse be so obscene that we never recover from it to have a functional relationship with those family members. But remember, you relatives by blood, you family by that bond of affection that keeps y'all tied together through thick and thin. You can't be going through the thick and thin with somebody gonna leave you every time it get thick. You're gonna either be with me or you're not gonna be with me. And sometimes you have to stand on your own 2 feet in order to control your circle when you become an adult. Your parents got you to adulthood. Their job was done. Now your parents and your association with them supposed to be a luxury for you and for them to see you living your best life in this realm. For them to be part of seeing you live your best life, that's supposed to be their blessing to see. But some people burn those bridges. If you can't make it work, you got to do what you got to do. But you can't force around a peg in a square hole. It just don't fit.
All right. Let's get to the next question. Peace, family. Since there is no original thought and money is nothing but a collective agreement, is it a violation of spiritual law to monetize universal knowledge?
The way that the old priesthoods used to work is they never charged what people gave out of gratitude. Right? This is why I don't charge, but I accept donations, because the gratitude keeps the energy cycling. Right? But you got a lot of people out here charging to do spiritual work because the churches got us used to every time somebody do spiritual work, they have to charge. But you're not supposed to have to charge, because if what you offer in the revelations of the universal knowledge to other people, their gratitude will compel them to compensate you on their own without you trying to solicit them for funds. Then when the system change over, all them people that been scamming, their money ain't gonna be no good anyway.
money as we know it, do you think it's going to be around 150 years from now, and 20, 40, 30, 40 years from now, Rod?
All the money is the way for, if you do something for me,
Uh-huh.
I have to give you something tangible to compensate you for your time and your efforts to assist me in my need,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Mm-hmm.
a form of gratitude. But it's a way to keep the communication balanced,
Mm-hmm.
because some people don't got no skills, but they got a whole lot of currency sitting around.
Right,
So
right,
they
right.
got to pay the plumber, the electrician. They got to pay the guy to come cut the grass. They got to pay the mechanic to change the tire. All of the stuff that they would be able to do on their own, they have to use currency to get done because they don't know how to do nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is what the society is gearing, cutting us off from what we used to call Uberman or the Superman or the man that was the universal man. Remember that Leonardo da Vinci drawing with the man on the circle with the three arm positions? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's called the universal man. That symbol was symbolizing the man that knew how to do many different things with his hands,
Mm.
right? And they each hand from the position is it's a code to the work that he did, right? So he only got 2 feet when he stood the Vitruvian man. It's also called the universal man. But this is what the symbol is, the representation of the energy of the man who can do more than one or two things, right? To a jack of all trades, the master of none. But the jack of all trades is better than the master of one, right? So if you only know how to do one thing, you limit your value.
Mm-hmm.
The more stuff you can do, the more value you create within your circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody know which uncle to call to fix the car, which cousin to call to cut your hair. We all know that, but we don't know that one person used to do all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One person used to be able to be the barber, the dentist, the surgeon, the
Mm-hmm.
doctor, the lawyer. We used to know it all because it was part of early education. But now, the way that the system designed, they want to create a race of workers. They want to turn us from being constructive and productive to being drones,
Mm-hmm.
supporting the system that don't care nothing about us. The system is emotionless. It's heartless. It has no compassion at all. It was created to not have compassion. And all of the things that make it function is the varying division sciences of war that's being applied to the people under sociology,
Mm-hmm.
right? They don't micromanage one individual unless he's very powerful. Normally, they manage groups using sociology, which they call herd behavior or shadow behavior.
Mm-hmm.
By moving with the group, you can easily control a group better than you can one person.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is look for the antagonist. Always pluck the antagonist out of and it won't never wake the rest of them up in order to rebel. So that's why everything is structured the way it is.
Mm-hmm. Let's get to another question. Family, don't spam the chat with the same question. It takes away the enjoyment of the chat room for everybody participating in it. But don't spam, don't put your question 20 times. Why is there war in the spiritual world, Rod Hayes?
Look, this is because you need to use the term war to understand the conflicts between energies.
Hmm.
When you talk about war in the upper realms, you're talking about two opposing forces of energy trying to jockey for position to occupy the same wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like sound canceling out sound than it is blood guts warfare of the humans.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
it's just the energies moving in the spirit realm, but we had to use the person, place, or thing concept to teach the 3D reality what's going on in the upper realm. So now you have to create superheroes, gods, demigods, great men of valor. All these is energies, and the energy is described in the description of the character of the person.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know what energy is at play. It's the same with your great grandparents not physically here no more, but they left an energy signature called you that they was here,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's the same in the spirit realm. There's the energy signature, but the energy signature play out in the physical realms. So if two energies come from two different parts of creation and converge at a central location, it causes a reaction. If the wavelength is different, it causes a conflict. If they the same, it causes asymmetry, right? If the two wavelengths are different, they're going to clash first, but they will sooner or later find what's called a common harmony. That's called a war in heaven. When you start looking at everything as an energy as opposed to a being, a person, place, or thing, a noun concept, it allows you to see things clearer in the physical than you thought you would ever be able to see without ever having glasses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just changing perception,
Change your
tuning
perception.
perception. Right. So we talk about the great father walked the sky with the black dog on his heels. Right. And on Earth, the high chief walked the earth with a black dog, and you used it as a comparative analysis. Well, we know that the great father that walked the sky with the black dog on his heel, that's Osiris with the dog star
Mm-hmm.
from Sirius on his heels.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now it's in a anthropomorphized form. I can use it as a teaching tool better and let somebody come along and add mystery to it and tell you that it means something different than what it means. Now it's harder for you to translate it.
Right. Right. Okay. Let me get to another question. Where's this question I want? Okay. Um, Rod touched on the split soul earlier. Is that a twin soul slash flame?
No, a good example of a split soul is what W.E.B. Du Bois wrote about in The Souls of Black Folk. It's a chapter called The Warring Soul. So the world tell you who they think you are. Everything that you believe about what the world told you are, that's your ego self.
Mm.
And everything that you know you are without nobody telling you is your true self. The goal is to make the ego self, to purify the ego self, is to get rid of the stuff that don't properly represent you in the world's perception out of your own acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And once you realize that the true self was the self you thought you was the whole time, this is the warring soul, split soul, dual soul. The twin flame is the one that you was promised to in the earlier life, and you drawn together by the forces of that union, and you come together in the future lifetime, right? A twin flame is you come in soul groups. You can only have a twin flame when you come in a group less than 3.
That's interesting.
So it's like being a twin versus being a septuplet. Right? And the twin flame, that flame is that solar plex or the inner light being of the same essence. Normally it's way more than 2.
Mm-hmm.
But for the unique individuals, there's only one of a kind. Your twin soul might not even live in your lifetime. But if they do and y'all meet, y'all cause a reaction in your environment, and they say they souls on fire. Right? Osho said it best. He said, a wise man is a fire, alive, a fire, living. So when the wisdom is activated, the one who has the essence mirrored to yours, that's your twin soul, or your right. That's not your twin flame. Your twin flame is from the same soul essence, and it's only a few of us born with a twin flame. Most of them is born with a twin soul, or somebody that they was paired with in a prior life, that in the future life they come back together, because that union has to be satisfied in order to balance out the karmic agreement. That also go for the parents you born to. Like, so like normally when we come back in the family line, we come back through our favorite offspring. My favorite daughter's favorite daughter. Right? So Big Mama come back through that daughter. Right? Or my favorite grandchild, or my favorite great grandchild. Yeah, I'm coming back through this one. Right? And you'll find yourself watching the children in the family to determine who got the qualities that can teach you what you need to live your best life. And normally them the ones that the most people want to come through. Those the mothers with 10 children. Most loved, most respected throughout the family. All of them want to come back through her. We remember, like, we don't remember when women used to have 20-something babies.
That was a while. Grandma used to get busy, man.
Yeah, but it wasn't as long ago as we think it is.
Yeah.
You know, that was the you know, they just had babies. They didn't have no concern for. They had the farm. They could feed as many as was born.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. It's an issue under this modern central bank monetary system, where inflation makes sure that the next generation can't enjoy what the last one did.
Yeah, man. They would probably look at the way we live in and be like, damn, like they farming, they got eggs and shit like that. Like I hear people all over the internet. You go to the store, everybody complaining about the price of eggs, $10 if you want some what they call that, free range. Yeah, free range eggs. So it's just like this shit is insane. What did this the way the finances is operating in this realm? $10 for eggs. What if you got a family of 3, bro? Like that shit is like, bro, like this shit is wow, man.
It's about to get worse. You don't know the biggest egg manufacturer in America just burned down.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Last week. So the price of eggs about to be about $30 a dozen in a minute.
$30 dozen eggs. Imagine, y'all. Wow. $30 dozen egg. Wow. Wow, that's some real shit right there. Okay, let's get to we're gonna do 2 more questions. Then we're gonna get out of here. Having a good time. We got about 2,500 people in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Enjoying this Thursday. Today's Thursday, right, Roddy? Yeah, Thursday. Enjoying this Thursday night. There was a question I wanted to get to. Hold up. But the chat is moving so fast. But there was a question. I didn't save it. All right, let me ask. Shout out to Kwame Sunhorse. That brother be on the channel sometimes. Elder that be on the channel. He says, Rod, are we dual consciousness in one body human?
Well, we multi-dimensional beings. Your consciousness can enter any dimension. Where your consciousness is focused at is where you awake at the time. Right. So in this timeline, your consciousness is fully online here. But on another timeline, it's fully online there.
Right.
Remember Jet Li the One?
Yes.
It's kind of like that. Now, if you can take your focus from all them other dimensions and bring them into one dimension, all your multidimensional selves, then you become what's called the unified soul.
Mm.
I think I got a book called Soul Retrieval. It's a how-to manual, and one of the things it talks about is bringing other parts of yourself from other dimensions to assist you in this one. Right. So in other dimensions, you might be killing yourself off to get to this one.
Damn.
Right. But you don't know it because you're not experiencing the death in that dimension because you're experiencing the life in this one. So that I think that's more than dual consciousness. And the only way I could call it is multidimensional.
Multidimensional.
Yeah.
Ooh, man. All right, Rod. Why? Shout out to Peace Priestess. I think you in the Discord chat too. So shout out to you. She wants to know, why are we experiencing this long heat wave?
First, it's not a heat wave. We establishing a new norm of temperature because when the cycles went from lunar to solar, right? It was the transitional period that's been going on for the last 50, 60 years of climate change. The government been telling us this fallacy about some shit called global warming that don't exist according to the paradigm they feeding us. But what it is the sun cycle coming online. When the sun cycle come online, the temperatures of the planet rise. The heat becomes more intense. The solar rays become more intense. Because now, is especially at the beginning, like right now, the solar rays are sending in correction data to DNA of all species. This is why you're having all of this solar activity going on more than we had in our lifetime, because now on the flip side of the Maherta, the sun is doing what it do. It's sunning.
Sunning. Sunning. Indeed. Yeah, I seen, so I had some super chats I didn't answer. So we're gonna do two more real quick. All right, Rod. In ascending or transitioning to the afterlife or the next dimension, what is the difference from passing from natural causes, being killed, or taking your own, unaliving yourself? Because I don't want YouTube.
So if you do it to yourself, you're gonna revert back and come back and do it all over again immediately.
I appreciate that question too. I appreciate that question. Yeah.
If somebody else put you out your misery, then you're gonna review your book of life, because that's probably the exit you ascribed in your book of life. If it's not the exit you describe, you have different options than the one who took his own. You had an option to come in as a walk-in. You don't have an option if you take your own. You have an option to be born with a certain level of skill sets that get you advanced to the level you was when you was unceremoniously removed. Natural causes is always your natural exit. So on that side, you get the plethora of things you can choose from, because now you're looking down on creation from a higher realm of energy. You can determine if you want to come back, when you want to come back, what conditions you want to come back under, who you want to be associated with. You get to put all that together before you make a move. I be listening to people talking about a reincarnation soul trap. That's not true. The only reason they saying that, because Earth, the souls that's natural and organic to the Earth naturally come back to Earth. The only way you can stop a soul that's natural to somewhere from coming back there is you got to take it to an unnatural location where it'll come back in that location, because that's the closest thing to Earth that it can experience at that time. Right? So it'll come back there. So you heard me before say certain people that can't die here. because we don't want them to come back here.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to this last question. This person wants to know, where's it at? Why don't aliens never abduct black people?
They do. They do. That's part of the what we call racist narrative.
Mm,
In order to push the racist agenda, they had to make somebody seem more valuable than us,
mm,
right? But that they abduct all people on all lands,
mm-hmm,
right? And it's a long, drawn out historical record of it, even in prehistoric temple writings. So it ain't nothing new.
mm.
Is they probably take more of them because they monitoring their genetics to see how they assimilate in their drop of blood.
Right, right. You're right. You think aliens come while we sleeping and teach us shit, and then we wake up, we be having answers, and they done told us certain shit while we sleep?
Well, they can telepathically give you information,
Or they
and
hear?
you would think you thought it up if you don't understand telepathy. If you understand how telepathy works, you will know exactly when it came in, and if you know how to read oracles, you can find out who sent you the message.
So sometime when you think it came from your higher self, it came from an alien, you saying sometime?
Well, your higher self an alien because your higher self ain't from here.
Right, right, right. There you go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They religious God an alien because he ain't from here. They angels is aliens because they ain't from here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? All of them is extraterrestrials, some extra on Earth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was fire. Yeah, Maximum Rising. Yeah, this was fire. Yeah, this was definitely. I think Kendrick Lamar put a battery in Rod Hayes, man, because he was extra on it tonight, man. So shout out to Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think we're gonna let me see the minute concern part. Yeah, I think we're gonna let me just ask this last one, Rod, because this person seemed like they really want to, they feeling where's he? Yo, y'all got the chat moving so fast. Okay, all right, here we go. All right, this person is stuck in a certain position. This person is asking, when are we going to get real results of change? And that's a genuine question. This person may feel like shit is just stagnant here on Earth. So they like, when is
Ain't nothing the same today that it was yesterday. No matter how same it looked, it has changed.
Mm-hmm.
We in a microwave McDonald's culture. Fast food, hurry up, give it to me right now. We waiting on the change, but the change is changing. And we can't see it because we want it to hurry up.
Right.
Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And the sad part about it is that's the same thing I was asking, and I kept getting the answer, take how long it take. Don't mean we have to like the answer. Right? It don't mean we have to like the conditions. But change is gradually taking place, and at some point the old system is going to be so obviously gone to people that they're going to be like, wait a minute, what is we doing? They've been running this this parody Joe Biden presidency. They finally start letting it leak into the mainstream media that they've been running the show. It's called soft disclosure. They don't tell you the whole thing. They just kind of like telling you to get you ready for what they about to tell you. Soft disclosure. Hard disclosure is shock and awe when they just drop it in your lap and say, you figure it out from here. The change is taking place. They setting the stage for the grand finale. So while they setting the stage for the grand finale, all we can do is hurry up and wait.
Right.
Because when it roll out, it's going to be according to the collective and the awareness of the collective. And the more of us that become aware that the change is taking place, the faster it happens.
Indeed. Shout out to Miss Jar. Miss Jar says she just got a ticket. Shout out to you. I'm gonna be sending out the Discord link again tonight, family. If you didn't get it, maybe check what email you left with Eventbrite, because sometimes people that leave an email that they don't even know they left with Eventbrite. So check, because the link is getting sent to whatever email you left with Eventbrite. But I will be sending out a link tonight to everybody. Rod, I gotta send you. I should send you the Discord link. With the people in there chatting, talking about life, just having high vibrational conversations, man. I should send you the link so you can just chop it up with the people. You know, whatever you want, just chime in on there, chop it up with them. You know what I'm saying? Say
It's,
what's up.
it's, it's, high, it's highly unlikely I'm gonna pop up on Discord.
Oh, you don't mess with Discord?
You know what? I just got Discord, so I ain't really sure how it worked. But you know what? They ain't the one made me download Discord.
Oh, okay. Oh, Dame got a Discord. Dame Holloway?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he wanted me to do a live with him and Brother Top Cat. And I've been waiting for so long to do the live with him. He was like, I'll be on Discord. I'm like, I don't got Discord. He said, you got to download Discord. I go, I'm downloading it now. Right? Because I know it's for the culture. It's so important.
Yeah.
It's huge for the culture.
Oh, yeah.
So we seen Kendrick bring the Unity display out in Cali. Watch what follows, because you're going to have other artists from other areas doing something similar. Now, whether to get broadcast or not is another animal. Because they might, after what Kendrick just did, they might try to put it all on the back burner. So we got to be citizen reporters when we see these Unity displays. Go live right then when you see it, because they're not gonna tell us.
Oh, yeah.
When you see brothers clicking up to do something that's right, go live right then, because they don't want us to see what we doing for the algorithm of his computer network that he been trying to censor us on. So when you doing something unifying and benevolent for our people, everybody go live that's present, even if you ain't looking at it on your phone, and just go live from the same location. Hijack the algorithm, they gonna bow down in respect.
Powerful. Hey man, family, with that being said, I know y'all enjoyed tonight's live. Rod, I want to thank you once again for coming on the live, my brother. As usual, you did your thing.
Appreciate it, brother. I always enjoy myself coming over here.
Indeed. I gotta have you on again soon, man. I want to do one of them panels again, man. It was fun when you was on here with Sharif and Blue Pill, man. That joint was fun, man.
Man, the people love that.
Yeah, that was
they
real
love that.
Yeah, I gotta get.
There was some good brothers to be on with, because they easy to talk with and talk to.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, that was a powerhouse.
For real. I want to get you back on with Billy again, man. That one you and Billy did was groundbreaking, man.
You know how many people asked me when I was coming back on? When you in Black Magic gonna have Billy Cosby back on again? I say, brother, that's not my show. I can't tell that brother what to do.
we gonna make it happen. We gonna make it happen, y'all. We gonna get Billy, Rod, and somebody else. We gonna have a third Anunnaki spokesperson on.
Was the ones that they had the bounty on their head, and how they incorporated the servants they brought over here. They warrior class servants that, they send them to war. And, the first people they send in is the priests. So that's called the soft sell. That's just to get their foot in the door. But once you let their foot in the door, they going to bring in their homeboy, their cousin, their uncle, and everybody. Right? So, let me see who want to come up here. Nobody ain't requested yet to come up. So, anyway, so I was explaining how they had bombed the women's retreat, the Califia Queen Castle, that Disney, the replica of the Disney Castle, Tinkerbell, that's the replica of the castle they used to sit on the island that they call Alcatraz now.
and it was a woman's resort where the priestesses from all over the world used to go there and, learn how to be in the highest feminine mode, and that's so they don't carry on generational curses. They used to go to the retreat to learn how to navigate their own energy and live their life like that, right? So I was explaining, when they was coming over here looking for the gold with the 49ers and how they was scalping the Chiefs, but it was a few things that I forgot to mention. Like the old Chiefs down in Arkansas, the land of the Razorback, where they'll split your back with a razor. Right? Them chiefs that like to use the knives. They talk about the Mexicans using knives. Them chiefs in Arkansas used to cut you fast as they can call you by your name. Probably by the time you get your name out, you being cut every which way but loose. J.D. Walker. That's J.D.'s revenge. J.D. Walker, boy talker. You know what I'm saying? So all these ancient stories or stories about people that was in our culture is the swastika symbol is found all around the world. Somebody asked that question. Because the swastika is a symbol for balance with nature, and when it's in reverse, that means that somebody is going against nature. It's invited up the only person that's in there that's trying to come in and ask questions. I'm gonna see if they let her in or him. They, hey, hey,
Hi. I was just
how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing magnificent. Thanks for asking.
You fasting? Did you say you were
No, I'm not.
fasting?
No, I didn't say I was fasting. I'm not fasting right now.
Oh, okay.
I did enough of that. I did enough of that for a lifetime, especially when I started this process going through the dark night.
Going through
I was
your
fasting, so yeah,
priesthood?
yeah. So it's like an initiation, but it's also part of your spiritual development. You know, when your emotions is out of control, you fast because if you control your appetite, it gives you more control of your emotional and spiritual body. So when you going through a crisis, um, and you meditating, you trying to center yourself, and fasting facilitates you centering yourself because once you get past a certain point in your fast, uh, you start to feel the energy moving through your body, and then you be able to realize that the emotions is just for navigational purposes. You're not supposed to live there. You're only supposed to visit for a little while.
Well put. Yeah. I
So,
felt some energy go through me on a 40-day fast. I felt I lifted off the ground. I had to I had to put down the totem I was holding. I had a hawk wing, and I was
mm-hmm.
shaking that thing, and it was moving all on its own. And then I started lifting right off the ground. I was like, oh, I better put this thing down. I'm gonna fly right out of here.
So you said you was doing the ritual with a hawk wing.
Yes, sir.
What tribe you from, sweetie?
Well, I know
You,
for a fact my father told me we were Blackfoot, and I know for another fact that Chief Joseph M. Hazard is my grandfather.
so with the ritual you doing with the feather, them the bird clans ritual. Now you got different bird clans that use different symbols from different birds. By you using the hawk wing, was it brown or red hawk?
It's the spotted one. with the
Okay.
white and the brown.
So that's the brown and
Yeah.
white one. So that's the overt clan that you from, which is your rituals come from, right? Your hawk totem would be the black and white hawk, the one that you use the wing for. So you tapping into the frequency of the totem energy when you using the implement made from the totem animal.
The
But it has what's
directionals, north, south,
right,
east,
and
west, that had a lot to do with it getting to
mhm,
my north gate, if you know what I mean. Like when
mhm,
I would face that direction, and then I'd feel the energy. This serious.
yeah. So the old culture, while you were doing your ritual with the overt, they had the Black Hawk chief from the Black Hawk stealth priests are the warrior priests,
Oh, oh,
and they was similar ritual 9 out of 10 simultaneously with you without y'all even knowing it, because they follow the energy that the priestess put out, and they try to pick the energy up to translate for the clan wherever they at what message is being relayed about conditions across the land.
a strong wind flew in from the east gate.
And that's why they call it wind talkers.
What are they called? I
Wind
didn't.
talkers.
Okay.
But a tribal code talker, like the Navajo code talkers or wind talkers, all tribes have priests that is trained in it because they talking to each other telepathically and they reading nature to pick the message up on both sides. We call that knocking to a knockback, right? Code flippers.
The
So the
Douglas
code
fir
flipper,
trees as well.
right? Yeah.
Wisdom trees.
That's the fir is the evergreen, the eternal tree of life, the tree that never dies, meaning that even when it snows outside, it's still green. It's forever green, right?
Yes, that's what
Green
I
is
thought back.
the greenhouse is the ones who responsible to maintain the balance in the foliage of the planet. Those are the women that they call Earths in the 5% nation.
In
The
fact, the
brown
women,
house,
I could feel them coming over the Wind Talker channel asking me to put the pines on the altar. And yeah, they really like, because not everybody has the evergreen, if you know what I mean.
yeah. So when the women talk, they talk in groups.
Hmm.
And the high rank in the group talk to the other groups telepathically. And the best group to be in is the Big Mama group because they got information from the entirety of all of the different houses. Based on the colors, tell you what the tribe that's doing the work. The symbols tell you which tribe is doing the work. The colors, the symbols, the numbers. Then you have the dances, the local dances that they call cultural phenomenons that's popping up in diverse places, which is the genetic code of the old tribal dances expressing itself based on the geography across the land. Different tribes had different dances. Like in the West Coast, they B and C walking, but they Harlem shaking up in Harlem. They jitting in Detroit. So we all still doing the fancy footwork, but that's how we communicating in artistic expression.
Choreographing constantly, you make music, you choreograph in your mind's eye. Yeah. And that's how we stay together. We may not be physically dancing, but we are. I know the
Yeah. So
Pumangita of a lot of dances. Like I may be Pumangita as well because
mhm,
I got the in the Eastern Indians that guarded the rivers over there. Where we grew the tobacco.
mhm.
Virginia.
Yeah, that's where we was all called from. That's where we got our call from. When
Mississippi
they left
too.
with Lewis and Clark, they knew we was moving southeast, so they sent Lewis and Clark's expedition to what they call survey the land. And as they surveyed the land, they knew that all of the chiefs had abandoned their castles to go fight the Gullah Wars because they the commanding forces. They the one. Don't know general in the tribes of the Earth tribes. We don't send our soldiers to war unless we lead in the battle. That's the purpose of the war bonnet, so the soldiers can always see where the chief at on the battlefield, because he's the one with the full regalia, right? Scout chief have one or two feathers or three feathers, but the full feather chief with
That's
the war bonnet
a war
leading the
bond.
war.
That's a
Yeah,
war bond. I
yeah.
know.
They don't wear it every day. They got us thinking we used to
No,
walk around with that. We walk around just like we do now, but we put that on when it's time to
when
either
it's time to woo,
perform
woo,
a
woo,
ceremony
woo, 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 on our
or
ponies
to rally.
with our bows and arrows and shit and guns. You know, it was
Yep.
real. It is real, but it's getting better.
Mhm. So I got some more people asking to come up,
Yes, sir.
and I'm gonna let them come up in case they have questions, and I'll talk to you later.
Brothers
Okay, sweetie?
up. Take care.
Brothers up. So let the next person up. I get long winded. I'll be like, damn, Rod, shut your ass up and let the people talk. And all the people
Hey,
be
how are
like,
you
Rod,
doing?
won't you? Hey,
I'm
how
working
you
on some
doing, sweetie?
art right now. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You make my
Okay.
eyes.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah.
No, I
Saturday.
haven't had a stuff here, but
Let me stop. I'm getting out of line. I'm at work. I'm at work.
I wanted to show you this art piece I'm working on right now. Oh, let me see. How do I flip my camera?
Oh yeah, yeah, the Panther.
I'm not done. I have a bunch of canvases and stuff, but I'm gonna do it.
You got some skills.
Thank you. No, I have a lot of pieces. The good news is that store offered me a job to where I can start putting my art on t-shirts and stuff.
That's right up your alley. Because you get
Yeah.
it out into the world, and now you got people walking around with your art on their body.
hmm
How
Yeah.
you been, Gucci?
I'm really excited for it. And I'm glad. I have two Instagrams so people don't get confused. I have an art page and then this is my family one, you know. But yeah, my I post a lot on social media. I've been discovering like, when we talk about ancestral stuff, there's a lot about my family that I didn't know. And then
Did you put
like that's why I enjoyed going live
that
with
amazed you?
others here on Instagram because it gave me that space to talk. But then I saw that some people were not genuine.
Oh, yeah.
And um,
So, out of the
all
stuff
the girls,
about your
yeah,
family, what was the
be
fascinating
careful.
thing you?
Yeah, I had some weird encounters. And then I would get frustrated because I always had the motivation to teach exactly art, but that didn't. Like it's a competition a lot of times through the social media and stuff. and I would get shy. Like, I didn't want to participate in things. And um, I'm doing a documentary right now. I'm really excited about it. And it's gonna be fun.
That's just a fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
the pain.
what can you?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry.
All of the new stuff you discovered about your family, what was the thing that fascinated you the most?
That fascinated me the most was, I guess, my ancestors. And then learning, like, when I went to school. Like, I didn't like it, obviously, but when I was there, it taught me. Like, I was always the awkward kid. Like, I didn't get along. And especially where I grew up, like, I'm mixed. So I went to a strictly Hispanic school,
Hmm.
you know. So a lot of them didn't even look at me as Hispanic, but um, but I'm black, you know. So they don't. It was very hard. Yeah, I got made fun of a lot, bullied and stuff.
Well,
But my art taught me how to get through that. And I think sometimes with the things I went through as a child, maybe hindered me as an adult, and that's why I want to help other women because I know women struggle through um, things that we went through as children, and yeah, that's my whole motive. I want to help people do art and learn art in a way of expression. And I can show it to you again so you can have all my art supply. I'm just nervous, so I'm like.
you all right, sweetie? Yeah, that's cool. All right.
And I kind of like wanted to make the panther look like Earth,
Yeah.
but I'm not done yet. This is like I'm not. This is just a sketch.
You got anything that's finished?
Um, yeah. Give me 1 second so I can show you. There's a couple pieces I'm working on. I'm not done with this one.
All right.
And then here, let me show. And this one it was made by my son's father. We're not together, but we inspired each other's art a lot.
The people watching like you too.
Yeah, I've been. There's a lot of detail in it. Like I'm like trying to make it look like a turtle
Mm-hmm.
with a flower shell, and then I'm trying to do the detail where it looks more like an eye,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah. So one of my favorite paintings is actually with the shop that I was working with. So I don't have it right now, but I do have more artwork that you can show. Oh, this one. Sorry, all these canvases. Oh, you're mute. I don't know if I can hear you.
Yeah, I said you got some good.
Yeah. And like I feel like the Aztec stuff for me personally, it means a lot, and that's why I try to like teach people about it
Mm-hmm.
because I want people to remember that like a lot of people get afraid of Mexico, you know, or like I want to go there, but even my family that's from Mexico tell me not to go.
Your
I'm like,
art remind me of Frida Kahlo.
yeah,
Oh. Okay, sweetie, I'm gonna let you out so I can let somebody come up and ask some questions. All right.
all right,
I appreciate you
thank
showing.
you, thank you.
Okay, sweetie. I'll talk to you later. Let's get physical, physical. I wanna
Hello.
physical. Hey, where you
Let me get
at?
some light. How you doing?
I'm trying to figure out how I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Um,
Is your camera on?
yeah. Can you see me now?
Oh, but go ahead, sweetie. Ask your question.
So I've been how are you doing? First of all.
I'm doing miserable as ever, just like I'm supposed to
Oh,
be.
oh dang.
It's only a temporary condition. I ain't finna live in that shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
You know,
been
you
I've been watching.
gotta be
You
something,
said
right?
what?
You gotta go through something to be something, right?
Most definitely. I'm learning
Okay.
that now.
So I can be something.
Yeah. I've been watching you and following you for a while now, maybe like 2, 3 years, and I'm fascinated with um just like the connection that you have with people
Hmm.
of like just telling us, I don't know, like the spiritual part of us, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like how you can just when people talk to you, when you have conversations with people and you can just tell them like about themselves, you know? So
Yeah.
the question I was having was like, I want to be more in tune with like spiritually, like with my ancestors and stuff. Cause like a lot of people I feel like I'm having those intuitive moments or whatever, but I don't know. It just I don't never get like confirmation, you know?
Okay. So let me help you with that. I need you to go to YouTube, type in the art and science of self-talk. Well, you can just type self-talk in, and they're gonna give you they're gonna explain to you how it works, the mechanics of the
Mm.
self-talk. Right? Then you get type in how to breathe like a singer. And every day for a couple minutes a day. It don't have to be no all day thing, but start controlling your breath like a singer,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the exercises that singers do for breath control, right? Then um, you need to activate your first. You have to learn your higher language. This is why you need the self-talk. So when you start talking to yourself, you gonna in your mind you're gonna hear the answer coming back to you from source. Don't let nobody confuse you with what's going on inside your head. But everything that come into your head is not your thought. So if it don't sound like your voice, that ain't from you. But if you recognize the voice, you'll know who it come from. Most
Mm-hmm.
don't even know that when we hear things playing in our head, that they're not all in the same voice until you start paying attention,
Okay.
right? So this is why you got to learn the art and science of self-talk so you can weed out all of the background talkers and tune in to your own voice coming from the higher realm.
Oh,
Then your information will start to be more accurate because now when your intuition activate, you can intellectualize what you perceiving because now you know how your higher self communicate with you,
hmm.
right? And then I want you to get a book called the CRV Manual, the Controlled Remote Viewer Manual. It's going to give you exercises in there to train yourself how to be a remote viewer. That's clairvoyance. That's the ability to see into anywhere within the confines of space and time with the projection of the mind to the location. If you do those things, by the time but in practice them, you won't even realize that you, from the practice, you start actively using it to be able to be an active oracle.
Okay. So yeah, that because that's definitely what I need to work on is like my discernment with just in general, just my discernment. Because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I have like them superpowers or whatever. I call them superpowers. My great aunt, she knows. You ever heard of a saying where if you dream of fish, then someone in the family is pregnant? Yeah, she's been doing that for years. Like, and I told her about it. And I was like, yeah, you got superpowers or whatever. She was just like, she don't. I don't know. I don't know if she recognized it as that or, but she just
It's the same as ESP.
yeah.
So the tips I just gave you to practice, it makes you turn up the ability to use your psychic faculties better.
Yeah, because I'm
If you
trying to, and
notice,
I'm trying to figure out like what I know I have a lot. I've been like as a child, I dream a lot, and I have weird dreams, or sometimes it feel like my dreams are like deja vu. Like it's something about like dreaming is different for me, but I
Mhm.
can't never really like
What's your name, sweetie?
Takia
Takia. Where you calling from?
North.
I supposed to ask that when I picked you up. I forgot somebody in the comments just
I am
reminded me.
from Durham, North Carolina.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
I don't get it, girl. Yes. So the stuff that you will be learning, it's gonna work gradually. The more you practice it, the stronger it's gonna be when it start working. Because once you understand your higher language and how you communicate with yourself, you begin to be able to write your own personal codex, which is a translating tool for your dreams. This is why people dream journal,
Mm.
because the dream will show patterns in the physical realm where you can translate your dreams
Yeah,
more accurate.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to. I be trying to figure it out. Like I look online and like do the dream meanings and stuff like that. And sometimes it makes sense, but sometimes I can't like really what you call it.
It don't actually match with
Yeah,
what you feel.
yeah, yeah.
So in the dream state, the understanding of what an archetype is important because when you in the dream state, you in fourth dimensional mind matrix,
Mm.
but when you in astral, you in spirit matrix. The astral realm imprints on the physical realm everything that we see, but it all has to go through agency of the mind, the fourth dimension, from the fifth in order to get to the third. And that's why they say if you can think of it, create it. If you don't, somebody else will. That's because once you bring the thought down into the physical world, it has to manifest. And if you can't make it manifest, somebody who else will get the idea that'll figure it out.
Mm.
And that's why you need a patent office, because people don't always patent their ideas, and then they look up somebody else got a patent on it. So
Yeah.
you got 5 coming in at the same time. They call that popping the quiff. But the first patent filed was the one who opened up the door.
For it to come through. Yeah.
So that's how you get the astral impression of the 3D to manifest in the 3D using the agency of man and mind.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I hear you.
So they're saying that the spirit in the 3D used people to bring stuff into the 3D that was developed in the 5D. Now we going in the 5D consciousness in the 3D realm. We still gonna be in the 3D realm, but we're gonna have fifth dimensional consciousness, which is like having your personal tutor. Once you understand how to read your higher self, then you purify the ego, which allows you to know your highest good can be expressed easiest than your worst
Mm.
wickedness.
Okay. I hear that. I hear
Okay.
that. Yeah. I appreciate it. So, you said YouTube and look up self-talk and then do the breathing methods that singers do. And
Yeah.
that'll help me out.
Yeah. And don't forget the CRV control remote UN manual.
So I hope you gonna say this live, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it.
Okay, because I don't got no pens. You said CRV, something.
Play it back and get it out.
Yeah. All right. I think that's everything. Yeah.
Sweetie, I'm gonna let you go and bring somebody else up, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for stopping by to see me.
Absolutely.
Come on, little goddess. Let's talk about what the loyal goddess is talking about. What we all want to know. Well, hello there.
Hey, Mr. Hayes. I don't know how to I don't know how to take this thing off from anywho, I'm just gonna go. So I've been following you for a while. I'm surprised to see you on live again. You don't really hardly be on here no more. Or I don't be on here no more. I don't know.
I'm on my SikApe page, and I've been in Instagram jail over there for a while now, and they won't let me on, so I came over here to do the Q&A off the Facebook video I did last night.
Okay. I'm not on Facebook. So I've been going through maybe you could just like I want to know more. I know you're very, intelligent in this part. On August 5th, I had a child that that left. My 17-year-old. It was due to the police. And I know, I know about life. I know we're guaranteed to live. To not be here. 10 years ago, my brother, transitioned also. Um, I just not so much closer, but I want to know like how. I really don't know what I want to ask you, but I just want your guidance, I suppose. You know.
Dealing with the
I speak to him through readings. I do read cards. I speak to him through readings. At first, he was really the first week or so he was really distraught and like he didn't know what was going on, so I had to guide him So he's doing better now. He's talking to me. He's throwing out, better cards and kind of like guiding me. But I'm really kind of like lost right now. I need to put myself back up.
Okay, the first thing you need to know before you know anything else is you grieve according to your own time. Can't nobody tell you to get past it or get over it or none of that just because you grieve, how long or how hard you grieve. But allow yourself the opportunity to grieve, even if you have to go into solitude in order to gain your senses back. Okay?
Hmm.
That's the first thing you need to know. The second thing you need to know is this. You need to do spiritual baths during the time of difficulty to allow you to relax the stress on the spirit so you will be stronger to endure the process of the grief. The prescription for the spiritual bath is hot as you can stand it and put you about a cup and a half of Epsom salt in there, and you can pick your own essential oil according to how what the power is to the oil or what the character of the oil does. And then you take you a cup of alcohol, but you do not put the alcohol in the bath water until you submerge, because that's going to wash your aura,
Okay.
right? It's going to also make your connection to your ancestors on the other side
Okay.
clearer. And your son is in the ancestral realm, and you will be able to have ancestors counsel him, because when we recently cross over, it's the same trauma that we feeling or grief we feeling, they feeling grief too, and they need the ancestors that's already over there to assist them. But if he don't know how to ask for the help, they don't volunteer. And you can teach him how to ask for the help. Once you clarify your connection to the realm, you can ask them as his mother, you can ask the ancestors that's there to aid him in his transition. And you will find that when they start to answer your call to aid him, your grief in the 3D realm will start to subside faster. And once you feel that the ancestor that you needed him to connect with the most connect, it's going to be an acceptance that comes with that in the cycles of grief that's going to allow you to breathe.
Okay.
So that brings us to what I just told the sister before you about the science of breath. Breathe like a singer. Because when you grieve and you breathe shallow,
Yeah. I've
and it
caught my.
makes the grief last longer because you can't get full breath, which is
Yeah.
getting full. The spirit is breath.
Yeah. I do that because when I'm crying, it's like, it goes like that. And it's
Yeah.
like breathing through the mouth. And I know breathing through the mouth is not good. You got to breathe in through your nose and let it go out through your mouth. So you know, I've been practicing, the breathing also too. But I do catch myself when I'm like hysterically crying that it's like, you know, I guess trying to catch my breath type thing.
That helps most because it'll relax the body enough for you to catch your
You
breath.
said what now?
That's when those baths work the best because it'll allow the body to relax.
Okay.
Will allow you to catch your breath during the episode.
Okay.
But remember, every time you go through a physical breakdown, you're making a spiritual breakthrough. If you don't know that, it'll make the grief harsher and longer.
Okay.
But when you know it, you can monitor your success in overcoming the process of grief.
Okay. Kind of like flip the energy around. No?
You don't have to. All you got to do It comes with when you get to the phase of acceptance. That's when you start to and it's going to change you on a spiritual level and make you more useful to other people once you get done going through your process.
Okay.
But you have to go through your own process because this is the greatest catalyst to growth is great loss. And
Yeah.
that's why you go through the period of grief. It's the
Yeah.
phoenix consuming itself in the fire to become ashes. And then it rises from its own ashes in order to be the greatest phoenix it had ever been. And it do that every time it falls in its own ashes is greater than it was before.
Okay. I do grow a lot of herbs. I have like rue and rosemary. I could use those and parsley and all that. I could use those for my bath instead of essential oils, right?
You absolutely can. There's a book on Amazon you can get called, I think it's called 105 Spiritual Baths,
Uh-huh.
but it tells you many different types of spiritual baths you can do so you're not just stuck to one. But the basic root ingredient is the hot water and the Epsom salt and the alcohol only after you been submerged.
Okay, so something like rum, would that be
You
best?
can use
Rum?
rum. Depend on your spiritual practice because a lot of the women from the Louisiana area they use the rum. They use white lightning, what's moonshine,
Uh-huh.
and they use uh, um, Johnny Walker Red, Johnny Walker Black, Old Granddad. So depending on your preference, those alcohols are acceptable. But they to wash the alcohol itself is to wash the aura.
Okay. Okay. So do that after after I submerge in the bath, I'll go ahead and put that in. As I'm submerging in the bath,
You know,
I use that
once
alcohol.
you under the submerged, the majority of your body submerged, then you pour the alcohol in.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, my grandmother, she's also gone, but she's like that Johnny Walker. So I could either use that or the rum.
Hmm.
Yeah.
If you use that kind of alcohol, you can use a single shot from a shot glass,
If I use the
or
Johnny
as many
Walker.
shots as necessary. Yep. When you use that, you measure with the shot glass,
Okay.
and
Okay.
you can use one shot glass up to like 10, depending on how much energy you think that you need to cleanse what you're going through. You will feel it. And the more you use spiritual baths, it's like learning a new skill. You will know what you need in order to help you recover from whatever you're going through.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you, if if you could help me in any way like this. I mean, I'm pretty okay with, what death and whatnot, but it's like being your own child, it hits a little different. I know that we all born here to leave, and I know the pain or whatnot, but I'm not gonna take too much of your time. I just, like I said, I'm gonna do the
One thing,
spiritual bath. And you said what?
your son, your son, if he's coming back anytime soon, he's going to tell you who he's coming back through as their child. So when he come, he would want you to be there to greet him. If I tell you ahead of time, you'll pay attention to the signs he give you,
As far as him
and
coming
it'll
back,
yeah. Because
he will be
sometimes
able to tell me. He'll
traumatically like that, they turn around and come right back.
Okay. Let me ask you this, because one of my other children, he's a male. Um, he's expecting. Well, the girl is expecting, and the first thing too, like I noticed, I'm like, well, is this Thailand already coming back, or does it take longer for that?
When you first asked that question, why
He's
did you ask it? What was your intuition telling you that made you ask yourself that question?
Well,
You
I just,
had a feeling.
I felt, I kind of felt that, like, when that happened, when the same day that happened, it was like a light bulb. It was like, fuck, that's probably Thailand coming back. That's the baby that's coming in is probably Thailand. Not,
Is
I,
that brother his favorite brother?
huh?
Is the brother that's having the baby his favorite brother? Because we always come back to our favorite, the one we love the most.
No, it's actually they actually bump heads a lot. To tell you the truth,
That's, that's part of the love relationship that they have.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, always was like, he always used to. He's old. The one that is having the baby, he's actually older than him, but it seemed like Talon, the one that that's no longer with the transition, he was more mature than him, and and um and what was I say? I lost my train of thought, but yeah, it just seemed, I don't know. That's what came. That's what came like that same day. It was just like, and I never, it was just like that same day. I was like, wow. I said, that must be the baby. I don't
I'm
know.
gonna give you a little
You
that'll
keep
help you
breaking.
understand the. Can you hear me?
I could hear you now, but keep kind of like going off and on. But go ahead.
So, in your bloodstream, your cells are still there from the
Hmm.
gestation period. They with you through your
Okay.
whole life.
Okay.
And when your cells are in distress, your children's cells come to the aid,
Okay.
right? You have a heart link connection with him that came from him being in your uterus.
Right.
So now that's two connections. He's in your blood and he's in your heart.
Okay.
You also have a telepathic mental connection because it's easy for you to see his face when you close your eyes.
Yes. Every day, every single minute, more now than ever.
That's the visual connection, which is the mental link.
Hmm.
You have a three-link connection to always communicate with any one of your children. Is once you know that, you will know if he's coming back, just like when you suddenly realize, oh, I'm pregnant. You will suddenly realize that, oh, my son just came back.
Mm.
It's the same frequency because it's the same connection that you had when you brought him into the world, that he's coming back.
Okay.
We always come back. Trauma normally makes us come back faster because normally the trauma, like sudden deaths, are interrupting our path and we got work to finish. So we come back to continue the process of breaking that generational curse that we came to work on, which may be the primary and root cause of the trauma.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna come back and get it right because my favorite brother gonna make sure because he know how I move.
Hmm.
So if he what he teach me with what I already am, I can't miss this time. My confidence is in my brother who shared the same womb as my
Hmm.
mother as I did.
Hmm.
So now when I come back, he already know my
Hmm.
temperament and my mom grandmama me
Hmm.
and spoil me. So now I'm getting the double juicy benefit from the turnaround, come right back.
Hmm.
Because mama know, even though I'm her grandbaby this time, that I'm still her baby. It's going to be instinctual because of the connection that you have to your child. You can follow them through lifetime. My mama talked to me all the time like I'm talking to you, but I can't tell people that. They think you crazy.
Yeah.
But she be on the other side. She be coaching me.
Yeah.
Now, baby, don't say nothing. Just listen. Okay, time to talk.
Yeah. So
Quiet to yesterday because she told me, okay, now it's time to talk. Tell them to wrap this shit up. It's time to bring it on home now. Right? Right? And the mission is to help as many people as I possibly can. I could have helped more if they didn't think I was
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So you
But
saying crying and that's kind of that me being hurt as I am and just keep letting it, you know, I don't try to let it bring me down. I try to keep up there. I feel like me crying or being so hurt about it will kind of like hold him down. No? Maybe it will hold will delay his. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like me, you know,
you have
no? It's
grief is yours.
okay.
He got his own grief from crossing over suddenly.
Okay.
Now you have to, when you go through the process of resolving your grief,
Mm-hmm.
the breakdown is the breakthrough at the layers of the grief.
Okay.
So when you letting the grief out and you let the tears flow and you can get in that high water and relax and allow yourself to breathe, you cycle the energy better,
Okay.
which allows you to recover from the grief faster, which allows him on the other side to have your spiritual guidance as if he was here with you, but he over there needing your guidance from a different direction.
Okay.
You telepathically to him.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah, I have one of his.
yeah, once you control your faculties, you go from the grief and you start going through the process and you start doing what you got to do. That's called putting in
Okay.
spiritual work.
Okay.
Now, if you a sister that's a death doula, grief doula, Phoenix Rising, my chief of staff, if you need some help, she can either counsel you or she can refer you to one of her students that's also a grief counselor.
Okay. Another.
But what I gave you is the basics. That's the bare minimum that you can do to get through what you're going through.
Okay. Give thanks. Give.
But the most important thing is only you can say how far along you are in your grief. Ain't nobody outside you tell you because they can't feel what you're going through. Only you can feel it. That's your conversation with God.
Right. And is it too early to have altar? Because I really don't have. I have an altar for him. I've been having it. You know. I didn't do it right away. I probably did it like a week afterwards. Is it too early for his altar, or do I keep it up, or?
You set his altar up when you feel like it. Can't nobody. That's the same as with your grief. Can't nobody tell you.
Okay.
In China, when somebody died and they are Buddhists, they put their picture up the same day, so they cremate the body and everybody uses pictures, the photo shrine. So that's how you feel. Can't nobody tell you. That's the key to breaking through spiritually is when it comes to spiritual matters, your perception and how you feel is the overriding determining factor in how you practice your spiritual development.
Okay. Yeah, he got.
That's using your will and maintaining your self-control and your control over self. And that keeps other outside entities from stepping on your toes
Okay.
and slowing you
Okay. All right, Mr. Hayes. Yeah, at his altar, and we did get him cremated, and I have, I'm sitting right in front of it right now. So I was like, I seen you, and I was like, okay, let me ask you. I usually don't ever join lives or your live, but I knew you had the answer for me.
I'm glad I was able to help you, sweetie.
Give thanks. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
How do I allow this?
Tell me how them Thundercats thunder that coming through
Going
the
on?
hollow.
Chief,
What's
what's
going
poppin',
on?
man? It's my second time I'm chopping up with you. I can call you
That's
a real, I can call you a real reflection, man. You my elder, but you still a reflection of me, man. Every time I hear you, you know how that goes. Like
mm-hmm.
hearing you talk, you know what I mean? Hearing you talk is
For
like
sure.
crazy, huh?
Yeah. So what you got on your mind
Um,
today?
you said something key today. Hold on, hold on. You said something key just to the young lady here, and that was about how to spiritually transition, like using the override. You said something key, overriding things, and that's what I'm on right now, the manifestation. Whatever's going on, like I got some situation going on, but as a master of how I master my mind, I'm demonstrating, and that's why I'm in the position I'm in now, because I came back just to do what I'm doing. And I'm demonstrating to my people, right, not to let the outside convolute your vision, your trajectory, like how you perceive things and how you feel about it. That's what really override things. And when you say that, I'm like, God damn, Rod always on, and you always on beat. But that's what I do to override any situation, whatever it looks like. And as God, here's my little son, he tweaking right now. Sure. So everything I do, we know how to override it.
Kick us out.
Huh?
We got about 20 seconds for Instagram. Kick us out.
Oh, okay. No, I was just so yeah, I was just pointing that out to you, man, and just hopping on. I got my little son here, but yeah, the overriding things, whatever's going on in our life, um, I was touching on that with you, and you said it. So as I'm going on with my situation,
And welcome back to Office Hours with Dr. G. Welcome to all of you who are in the chat. Make sure that you are sharing the fact that Chief Pontiac is in the house. He's in the office. He's going to give us just what the doctor ordered. How about that? It's so good to have you. It's so good to have you here, Chief. It's so good to have you here. And
It's always
listen,
good to be here, Dr. G.
I know we have a ball though when we talk, when we have our conversations. Where do you find the link for part two? Part two's link is if you go back to the description of this particular show, like if you're on YouTube,
YouTube.
there's a description. It's telling you what the show is going to be about. There's a link and it tells you this is the link to the show. You click on that. What we're going to do is give you a break. What we're going to do is we're going to talk for about 45 minutes, maybe. Well, actually, Chief's going to talk for about 45 minutes. We're going to share. And then about 20 after 8, we're going to log off of this and we want you to click the link and join us. It's going to look the same, but we want you to join us and we're going to be in what we call unfiltered. And what that means is it's not going to be on Facebook. It's not going to be on YouTube. You're not even going to be able to get back to it tomorrow. When it's over, you're not going to be able to see it. So you want to tell everybody you know that we're doing a two-parter. You don't have to register. It's just that it's unfiltered. And we want to make sure that you just can't get back to it and throw it up on YouTube or something. We don't want it on YouTube because we want to be able to speak freely. And it's sad. It's sad that we're at a place where we can't. Free speech is not free, and you have you run the risk of jeopardizing your channel, your platform when you tell the truth. But we found a way. We got to work around. So with that said, Chief, again, welcome to office hours. Welcome back to office hours. I feel like when you have this is Dr. G's office hours, and I feel like when you come on, it's like I had to get a specialist to come. You know what I mean? A doctor specialist to come in the office and give us the 411 of what's really going on, because I didn't learn that stuff when I was in in the doctorate school. So I appreciate the time that you took and that Big Mama took to put you in a place where you could have some real serious download time and you erudited yourself. You know, you were able to get that erudite scholarship and that knowledge. And it's very rare that I've ever seen you on anybody's platform that a question has been posed to you that you can't respond to an answer. And what I love about you also is that when you can't, you say that. You don't try to find something and give somebody a whole bunch of gobbledygook and some stuff to make it sound good. But I've heard you literally say from time to time that you're not familiar with that. I thought I had myself. Yeah, I thought you don't say that, but what you do know, you come right off the cuff with it, and I know, and I feel, and I think a lot of people will agree with me. That knowledge and that wisdom that you have garnered over those in the belly of the beast was not for naught, and it's been for our benefit. With that, like I said, welcome back to the show. Do you have anything in particular that's on your heart or in your mind? Because every day I know information and so forth is being transmitted to you. So I don't know whether there's anything before I get into asking you stuff. What's going on? Because it's a lot going on, but I want to know. I want your take on it. Just to start off now.
Well, look, it's funny you said that because I'm in my sense of humor mode, right?
Okay.
And somebody posted on Facebook today, it popped up in my timeline. It say, "This is the 3rd of September. You ain't black if you don't know what that is." It was
that
the
the day I
3rd.
always remember. That was the
It was
day.
the day that my daddy died. So the emphasis on the 3rd of September being the day that my daddy died is talking about patriarchy.
Ah,
Patriarchy.
okay.
The
Go ahead.
revelation of truth is what killed the father, who was a bootleg preacher.
Okay.
I mean, that he was making it up as he go, teaching what he think can get him some money. I ain't in here for no money, and I work for the matriarchy.
That's right, you do.
So if I ain't here for money and I work for the matriarchy, then the patriarchy got to fall.
That's right.
Right? So in working for the matriarchy, a lot of the up and coming developing men think that the death of patriarchy mean that all of their power took. They don't understand the matriarchy. The matriarchy is not about taking the men out of positions of power and just putting a woman there. They might be the most qualified for that position. You're going to leave them there under the matriarchy. The matriarchy's rules are a lot simpler and comprehensive for the regular people than the patriarchal admiralty rules, right? And the matriarchy is live your best life, be your best self to experience heaven on earth. The patriarchy is dog eat dog, step on your brother to get what you want, right? It's two different ideologies as the root. Under the matriarchy, everybody in the tribes have a voice, and you send it up the chain of command. Under the patriarchy, the people that the patriarchy consider important, the only ones that matter, and everybody else's voice must only be apparently heard, meaning they give you the appearance that they hear you, but they do what they was going to do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So in the matriarchy, a 4-year-old can get legislation put on the vote. And under the patriarchy, if you're not a legislative writer, you can't get nothing put on the vote. The difference is the law is handled by a group of specialized women that know how to use source energy as the guiding light to make law according to the law of nature. So the first two questions that they ask before they consider if it's something that they should be contemplating making law about, they ask two questions. How does it affect the children? The reason I ask that question, because the effect on the children tells you what effect it has in the future. And then the second question is, how does it affect the earth? If it affects either one of them negatively, it's rejected. You can't, it won't even benefit one if it don't benefit the other. Right? So this is the difference in the patriarchal dictators masquerading as democratic government, having people believe they vote count when nothing they say count. They just want to know who can organize the vote so they know who to pay off or murder. And if you can get you a group of people that they feel you can control, then whatever you ask for, they gonna compensate you in one form or another. They normally give it to you in tax breaks and grants. That's what 50c3 status is for the church.
501c3, yeah.
It's a waiver of financial penalty in the form of tax if you do what we want you to do. They're not going to give you access to exemptions if you're not going to benefit their system. But if you can figure out how to operate within their system to benefit the most people, they want you, and they will do anything they can to appease you from mobilizing those people to reclaim what's rightfully theirs. So this is why they have us under the illusion of voters' rights. They already said we don't got no rights in their system. So now we believe we got rights in their system, and we fight over the rights that they never gonna give us. And the only time you get a benefit is when you can sabotage the most people on their behalf. The more people you can sabotage, the more comfortable they let you live. Oppression is atmospheric. There's two ways to the top. Rise up or suck up. It's only two ways to the top. And we got too many suck ups and not enough rise ups. Because when you rise up, you know what you're doing, or else you're not going to leave your seat. But when you suck up, you don't know what you're doing, because you don't understand why you can't get no power. All suction and ain't getting no power. Right? That's like a Hollywood prostitute. When she get old, she still was a prostitute and she got nothing to show for it, but probably a house and a car. Then she look back and she's miserable with how she lived her life. The whore of Babylon. Right? So they use the political stage show to steer the psychological grouping or sociology of the collective. If they can give you a compelling show, they have your attention. If they got your attention, you will follow them off the cliff.
Like
but
the
as
lemmings.
soon, yeah, and as soon as you take your attention back, they are offended at you because you're taking your power back.
Let's talk about power for a minute, or the lack thereof, or the appearance of, or the mindset of there being no power. Can you tell us when we went from knowing that we were that God, we were the gods, that God, the scripture, even if you go to the Bible, there's a scripture that says the greater one lives on the inside, and Yeshua was allegedly talking to the masses and saying, you got the greater one, you got him already on the inside of you. So we see that there. Yet what has been espoused and taught and assimilated has been powerlessness and looking to government, which we know allowing somebody else to take over control of one's mental faculties and to put thoughts and ideologies and so forth and to control. When did we go from knowing who we were, where we came from, to where we are now, being completely, in a like the Twilight Zone, or brainwashed as if these things had never even been our story? What happened? What transpired? I guess I want to say.
Sociology is the study of groups and how groups operate, how they move. This tells you what their trigger mechanisms is. It can tell you how to turn them on each other. It can tell you how to execute your divide and conquer strategies. The ones with enough of the old ways will begin to remember pieces of it, and they will do things that gather the attention away from the stage show. They use the same strategy as an illusionist in Vegas, a David Copperfield trick. They tell you that you don't have any rights because they declare war on you. But then they told you, you're not them people that we talking about. We talk about these other people that we brought over here with us to replace you. But we ain't gonna tell you that part. Rod Hayes just gonna say the quiet part out loud so the people know how the game played. So they telling you from somewhere else, but your insides keep saying, just something ain't right with that story. You don't know what it is because so many people that look like you believe the same narrative. But some of us don't. The hard part is for the ones who don't to go find enough evidence to prove the case. We become then tribal investigators. And we trade the information by wind talking or code talking. The ghetto code, dash, tells us where we are. How much influence do we still have over our people versus the squatters that came? We always knew who we was, but most of us couldn't say it out loud without being penalized. The threat of death and punishment and torture made a lot of our people whisper it to only certain people in the family that they know can hold water. So they don't want us singing, call the plumber, it must be a leak in my drain, because everybody seemed to know about my good thing. Right? So the plumber just so happened to be another Klansman. When he get there, he gonna tell you why you got a leak in your drain, but shh, don't you tell nobody. So then they create comprehensive structures to slowly feed us back the information of who we are by telling us to watch how we operate. So then the government tricked the people into believing that the righteous, rightful heirs of the land is the criminals. Because they came with the admiralty law and they denied us our right to enforce tribal law as a clan. Every tribal leader is responsible for keeping his clan under control, and he used members of the clan to do it. By using a strategy called villainization, they systematically take parts of our culture, create a word that means something negative, and then they call us by the negative term on a wide spectrum broadcast like the news. Before that, it was the newspaper, the movie reels, the news reels. They making movies to tell us that we marijuana smoking, white girl raping, and lunatics, the niggas, right? But then when it coming to find out, the ones who was smoking the herb was the kindest, peacefulest people. And then Paleface told us, because they had something called the flower generation, where they was learning all of this stuff from the tribal leaders. Many of them look like us on why they using the herb, why they eating the mushroom, right? But at the same time, they trying to tell us the government lied, and here come out here hippie. Hippie is a tribal term from the people of the land describing something.
Really?
So the hippie generation is known as the flower child generation. It's the bridge between the baby boomers and Generation X. It's the flower child and free love generation. So how do you stop them from giving free love? You poison them with STDs. That's all chemical warfare, biological warfare.
So you're saying that the introduction of the STDs was something that was well, it was
It's
introduced.
biological warfare. First you
We know
promote it, then you poison it. If it work, you poison it.
when you say once you promote it, when you mean promote the free love and then put something in to
Make
create.
it, yeah. So you make it mainstream, and then you poison it. Because now you have to try to stop the people from reproducing in time enough to catch the one that's going to figure out the problem. If too many babies is born, that's what they call scattering your shots. That's why it's more than one big mama on the land that got a baby boy that she sent out on a mission. We come from different tribes, but we all have a tribal responsibility as a tribal investigator to look at the problem. And when we don't know what the problem is, we tell the part we know, this is what I found out so far. And then we pass it to the next chief for him to look at it and do his investigation. And we use the music, the arts, and the entertainment because that is the root to the culture. You don't have a culture if you don't have that stuff. And I don't care which generation you look back on the last 100 years, if you start at ragtime and you come to hip hop, it's us. James Brown was a chief. Chuck Berry was a chief. Little Richard, Chief Screaming Hawk. Smokey Robinson, Hyoka High Chief. They putting codes in the music. The Temptations, Chiefs. They putting codes in the music. You got to know who writing this music. You got brothers is teaching others how to talk to us in the music. They called them music fixers in the 50s and 60s. They had to fix the music because the other people don't know the way we use music. So they can't promote the culture we give them until we show them how to fix the music. And the music is the...
I was going to say, can you take that all the way back to the so-called days of slavery when, you know, the songs that were being sung that were actually now they became incorporated into the spiritual as spiritual religious songs, but they were actually messages that were being broadcast or things that were being talked about that were not openly spoken of, for, you know, like even when we talk about so-called ETs and so forth, swing down chariot, stop and let me ride, you know, in the church, you know, is saying, you know, rock me, Lord, in the bosom of Abraham. But what we know of chariots of fire, the chariots of the so-called gods. So were our ancestors connecting, or were they knew that there were sky people, and they were saying, come get me, look, take me out, whatever. They were sharecropping, and they were stuck in these situations that they wanted to be relieved from. Was that what was going on? Or
The Earth tribes, no matter what part of the land they are gonna look to the Americas for the next wave of cultural phenomenon. Biblically, they call us the salt of the earth because we are the progenitors of the music, of the art, of the acting, of the singing, of the dancing, right? We are the progenitors of that. So if you go back to Muhammad, and the hadith say Muhammad was having a celebration, and he put the celebration on hold to say, where's the ones with the duffs? That's the drum. If you look at Shaka Zulu, when he leaves the shaman getting the sword made, when he about to be promoted, he had a feast for him, and they played the bongos, the drums, right? If you go to Nelson Mandela and Stephen Biko in the apartheid era, they talking in the music. If you go to Frantz Fanon, he said, where are the days when the mothers sung the songs of liberation into the ears of the babes to stand up and oust the enemy? So it's always been our cultural development that influences music, but we always code music. You code it with the 808. That's the war drum. We are in a state of war. Hip hop is telling you that with the 808. So the 808 is the root chakra pound to get you active and moving in order to find out why you stuck in your lower self. Once you understand what the codes in the music, all of the notes is telling you a story, right? The A tone is the A minor. A minor is a certain pitch in the music, but it's a homonym for what them people doing wrong.
they not like us.
They not like that, right?
All right.
So then you go from your minors to your flats, your B's, your C's, your D's. Those are your grades that the frequency come in on, and the frequency is played out in the note. What is a note? It's a short letter.
Okay.
So the note is going to tell you what the pitch is. The pitcher is the sender. He's the one on the pitcher's mound about to try to strike somebody out. Once you know what the pitch is it a curveball? Is it a slider, a fastball, a slow ball? Right? What's the pitch? If you don't know what the catcher flipped as the code to the pitcher, then you won't never know what the pitch is. So now you have to know what the catcher is covering what? Home plate. That means the home base is being covered by the one who's flipping the code to the one at the pitcher's mound. Right? So the pitcher is determining the pitch based on the frequency that comes from home. Your home training. Mama, your first teacher. Your first nurse. Right? She's teaching you the art and science of loving home and family first. So when you become an adult as a chief, you say that whatever I do with myself, it's going to benefit home and family first, which takes us to a first family flip, which is a royal arc degree. Because only from the royal house will you get the red, blue arc. And the arc is the covenant. And the covenant is the rainbow. And the rainbow is being perverted by the society in order to create an aversion to the rightful layer of the colors in the spectrum. Every note in music has a color assigned to the note.
Right.
So now you got colors, 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 colors. I'm a nightmare walking, psychopath talking, king of my jungle, just a gangster stalking. That's an Ice-T flip. And Ice-T is flipping from Long Island. The
Long Island.
Strong Island,
Mhm.
right? The Strong Island. The Strong Island is where Rakim from. The Black God, Cold Flipper, High Chief, 5% Nation, right? They say I was locked in jail, so now I guess I'm out on bail. But the only island I was on was the strong one. And if I did a bit, it'd be a long one, right? So he's flipping the code back to the other island. So now we got an island knock off an island knock. So Belle Isle is in Detroit, right? And Detroit is where Chief Pontiac had to fight the French at River Rouge when they turned the water red. And the blood was up to the horse's bridle, which was the blood in the water, which takes us to Chicago and the Democratic National Convention. All this is just tying the music to the culture, to the politics.
Wow.
That's called a zigzag flip. Because in the DNC, they dyed the Chicago River red, which turned it from the Chicago River to the Rouge River, because Chicago is supposed to be founded by a French named Dusable, Jean-Baptiste Dusable.
Okay.
But it wasn't, because before they changed the name to Chicago, it was an old tribal metropolis called Chata.
Wow.
So they want us to believe that this was an uninhabited land, but we have castles all over the land. They just turned them into prisons and state buildings in order to open your path.
And asylums.
Yep, mental hospitals.
Yeah.
So they telling you what they're going to do with you. They're going to either govern you with their politics, or they're going to house you in your castle as a prison, or they're going to drive you crazy trying to collect your birthright if you don't remember the old ways.
Wow. While you were talking about the colors and the notes and all that, it made me, I jumped off for a minute because I wanted to go, I guess, one of the things I do is working with energy. And one of the things we have is when we're doing an energy assessment of someone, frequency wise, you could determine what color or colors are prominent in someone's life, whether the colors are negatively influencing them or positive, what frequencies, what note is pitched too high or what might be too low, and what's balanced. So we end up giving the client tones that balance what comes up in their assessment. But we also give them colors that would give them certain outcomes. So, these are a lot of the things that we don't get the benefit of. This is technology that's old and ancient, but withheld from the masses so that those, so-called, in the know elites can take the benefit of that. Because you might be looking at, purple, and purple might be setting you off, for instance. And you might be like, so what we end up doing, and I went and pulled my thing. What we end up doing is we have glasses, and so today I need to look at, if I need to look at things through, like, say, rose-colored glasses, I can put the color lens on that I need to balance. It might be my chakras might be off, or it may be some energetic issue with me. But a lot of times, even though, because we were going to talk in this part about some metaphysical stuff. So a lot of times, like I said, or it might say, in order for me to get what it is I need, I may need to have orange. I need to be focusing on orange. I can change my lenses and change my perspective and change the energy in my body. So a lot of times, the certain colors that they put on us and the tones that they put on us are affecting us, our body, our mental, even our physiology, colors and frequency. And I learned that, with what I've been doing with AOScan for a while, but this is something that's ancient and old that our people knew. I'm pretty sure there were certain tones or certain colors and so forth that they knew to stay away from, or they knew to maybe embrace at a certain time. And it can change. It may be you need the purple today, but tomorrow you need to be looking at yellow or green. And it's kind of hard to do that because this kind of knowledge, where it may have been widespread back in our earlier ancient days, they took all that away from us.
Yeah, like biorhythms.
Yeah.
Your biorhythms can be electronically read because they have machines calibrated to your biorhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of your biorhythms is assigned a color. The same with moods, right? Remember the mood ring? When your mood change, the color change? Right, because they all have a energy signature. Some stones, like the one they make the real moon rings out of, not these fake ones that they use paper that's designed to do what the stone do, but the real stone, people would carry them around to monitor their own mood so that they can try to maintain a certain frequency.
Right.
And then they turned them into a novelty, exploiting our culture because we naturally drawn to things that's from our old cultures. They find ways to give us a mimic, an artificial replica of it, and then our genetic memory will be drawn to it. It's the same with the Bible. That's why the Bible is rewritten and scrambled up to confuse us, because the genetic memory remembers the holy drama. Everybody that's earthborn, the story of Osiris and Isis has a different story around the world, but it's the same stories called the holy drama.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's the story of the father falling to the uncle and the son of the father coming back to take the rulership back from the uncle.
Okay.
Right? In Sumeria, it's the story of Ninigazita, Enki, and Enlil. Right? Over here, it's the great father Sky and Mother Earth, right? And then they produce the Hayoka, a high priest, high chief, right? So the story is the same. It's just played out differently in different cultures to suit the underlying genetic memory of the people local to the area. Right? So when they tell us these stories, our genetic memories say this is the truth, even if it's scrambled up. Your genes, your DNA program will unscramble the story subconsciously. So you have to be able to read your own subconscious mind in order to bring the truth of the matter to conscious awareness. They tell you not to do introspection because the idle mind is the devil's workshop. But who is the devil? Devil mean enemy, adversary, opponent. So if it's you versus you, that's the best place to be, in your head. But you always hear people say, get out your head. You all thinking too much. There's no such thing as thinking too much, because how do you learn how to think? By thinking. By examining your thought process, you learn how to think. They took critical thinking and practical problem solving that was hardwired into all of our education out of the educational curriculum. So now there's no critical thinking, practical problem solving. You have to ask for that separately. You have to enroll your child into K through 12 critical thinking, practical problem solving, and they're going to try to tell us it don't exist. But you can go to Amazon, type in critical thinking K through 12, and the whole books will come up.
Oh, wow.
But it don't exist. Those classes are only privy to the people in the higher economic echelon based off the 3-tier German school philosophy. Richelin, Volschulin, academia. Real school, false school, and academia. Academia is where the ones that they want to rule is taught. Real schooling is the ones that they want to mediate and govern over the rest of the masses. That's where they taught. And Volschulin is where everybody else is taught, which sounds like false schooling, which is artificial education.
Wow. So from a standpoint of, do you think that the paradigm of so-called education as we've known it up until we got to the COVID time of COVID, where, you know, many parents, you know, children were home for a year or so, I felt like there was a shift in that paradigm. I mean, anybody trying to say start a school or whatever and keep it in a certain, and I'm not talking about anybody, but in particular, but I feel like, you know, sending your children to school now is probably been exposed as not as advantageous to their knowledge base as we thought it was. I mean, it's the steps you have to take in order to get these certifications and degrees, but does it really give the child the erudition that they need? I mean, it was when we were doing home economics and what do you call it, carpentry and auto mechanics. I'm not no things, but things like that, where children could come out of school, you know, hair, you know, beautician. They could come out of school and be, if they wanted, they could go into some type of a job if they wanted to. But now they get a whole bunch of gender twisting, bending. They get a lot of things. I forgot what they're calling that thing, but they're getting a lot of stuff that's basically about a bunch of propaganda.
It's all social engineering.
Well, yeah, and it's not preparing them, and so they still feel like they have to go somewhere for higher education. And my question is it really higher education, or is it just a way to get more of the siphon the finances out of the people and still never give them anything, no value for the, what they put into it? Because at the end of it, what do they come out with? A large, a bill that they can never pay off. And more than likely, they might end up working in, a fast food restaurant than they will in the profession of which they call themselves being trained or at a higher level. So do you see that ending? Do you see that there being a paradigm shift in the so-called education to an erudition type of situation that the matriarchy will put together, that's maybe patterned after something that used to be?
Yeah, the whole educational system is going to be revamped. Most of their systems is going to be to benefit the collective as opposed to the elites at the top. Mm-hmm. That's going back to the tribal ways. The way that they educate now, they don't educate you. What they do is indoctrinate you. It's a difference. The indoctrination effects can be shown in modern education with the conditions of how they're teaching the children and what's the focus: sex. Not just sex, the most perverse and corrupt sex.
Absolutely.
Right? Gender confusion is part of the new curriculum. So when we talk about a gay agenda, it was a group of homosexual priests in the 60s that hired a group of retired generals to tell them how they had to write them a report and tell them how to make homosexuality acceptable to the mainstream. And then they came out and began to finance that The same way they financed them generals to do the research, they begin to pay off corporations to incorporate the curriculum and indoctrinate the children because they don't worry about the adults. If they can control the children, they got you for another generation. COVID exposed the fraud in the educational system when parents was forced to have to homeschool. And it wasn't as difficult as they thought it was going to be, and their children was happier. And a lot of them said, we're not sending our baby back to that because they miserable. They know subconsciously that they being programmed to do something that's contrary to their nature. And so they hate school. Some of them hate it to their own detriment and commit suicide because of it. But we don't want to address those issues. What's wrong with the educational system that's sending my child to school and making him jump off a bridge? We don't want to talk about it because then we be held accountable for sending our children who can't function in a Skinner box, given directions by a Pavlovian response system bell. This is all social engineering because when they created modern education, they said the agenda is to create a nation of workers.
Right. That's true.
If you was a critical thinker and a practical problem solver, you don't have to work. You can create your own business from almost anything.
That's true.
Anything around you it can be used to survive. And a lot of people don't understand that. That's called living off the fat of the land. Go back to Fred Sanford. What was his source of income? He sold junk.
Junk. Junk. That's right.
Some of the junk dealers from over here where I'm at, they leave the junkyard in a pickup truck, go home, take a shower, get dressed, and get in a Mercedes and go to the uptown community where they fit right in. But during the work hours, you can't tell they not bums.
That's true. And I think that most of what we have or what we need exist. It's just that they've introduced the fiat system as a way of I guess it's not even a barter, but forcing one into a level of servitude in order to get basic things that everyone should have a right to. You know what I mean? When you talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness or whatever. So we're talking about even the basic of basics that a lot of people are living without because they've had this fiat system that they've created with this false, with this monopoly, so-called money, and people are scrambling trying to make it.
I call them prison tokens.
Well, okay, all right.
It's the same way as token. It's the same as tokens in prison. You can't spend them nowhere in the world. You can't leave the prison. You can't leave the prison with $1 million in prison tokens and get a dime.
Wow, that's true, and that's what we're that's what we're headed towards anyway. With the with the end of the fiat system, but we realize that it's not just the U.S. Dollar, if you will, the U.S. fiat, but it's anything that's connected. Anybody else who has fiat, that's all affected. So that's why I think it's probably taking some time for some of these things to, when people have been waiting for the transition, it's going to happen. But I don't think it's going to happen as easily as we think, because it's not just, we're talking about the what is it? What do they call it? In Europe, they use the euro. We have the whatever, the USD. You've got the different currencies. The paper currencies are all fiats.
Yeah. So we go into a crypto system, electronic banking system, but the bank notes will be based on asset. That means if you have a $10 gold note, you will be able to redeem it for $10 in gold once again.
Okay.
Cash and carry, ain't no credit. You either can buy it or you can't.
Right.
Debt equals slavery.
True.
We know that they used the system of debt to enslave the people.
Right. Listen,
Right.
I'm gonna stop us for a minute we need to let those who just can't come in know what's going on. We are actually we started this first 45 minutes or so on YouTube and Facebook because we wanted you all to, we didn't have a real way to get you on our unfiltered channel. So we have a link in the description box. I want y'all to hear me good. We're going to end this part of the broadcast. There is a link in the description box, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. It says you must use this link to access the unfiltered version. We're going to be ending this portion in just a few minutes. And what we want you to do is to click back in on the link. You're basically going to see the same thing that you see, but what the difference is that we will not be on Facebook. We will not be on YouTube. If you want to share that link with anyone, please share it. They can get on. There's no registration required, but you do have to click the link to enter in. We have space for 10,000 folks. So you can tell everybody if you want, but we want to come back on and be a lot less guarded about what we say. At least Chief will be able to say, because we've talked about some things that we know will probably be a bit controversial, might kind of raise the ire, if you will, of the internet gods, and we just want to be able to be open and honest. So there's like 800 and so of you all right now. We can see, I can see now. I went down the step. So between Facebook and YouTube, if you click off, go to the description of this show, the link is there. You click on, and we're going to be coming back on in just a few minutes. At 8:30 is when the broadcast will begin over there. As a matter of fact, as soon as we log off, Chief, we can actually log in and be over there, and then start letting people. And we don't have to let you in. Once you click, you're in. But we want you to know that the venue, so to speak, is changing, but the conversation is going to be continuing, but at another level. And so please bear with us. Over where? Click the link that's in the description. If you're on YouTube, just click, when you look at YouTube, you see where you can click on more for description. And when you look down there, it tells you what's on tonight. And it also says you must click on this link. There's a hot link there. Facebook, there's a hot link there. Click that link, and it's going to bring you over to our private, what we call unfiltered channel, which means it's not on YouTube and it's not on Facebook. That's all. Other than that, nothing changes. You'll be able to hear and you'll be able to chat and so forth, but you just will not be on YouTube or Facebook. If you want
to try to get that feminine energy harnessed to facilitate a cross-dressing positions. So they use your energy against you, and you don't know you surrendering it to them. Okay. It's like putting the dummy queen in the beehive, and they don't know that the dummy queen is the dummy queen. Then one day they figure it out. Then they all try to sting her ass.
So how did this role reversal, if you would say, start in this cycle of time, or what we know as time in this cycle?
If you look at the way things are, systems is how people govern themselves and others. These systems, the oldest ones that was functional with no war was matriarchy. The system of matriarchy was operated different than patriarchal domination rule. It was to bring the best out of every individual for the betterment of the collective, whereas patriarchy try to exalt one individual at the expense of all the rest of them. I don't care how good Michael Jordan was, he couldn't have won without the rest of his team being good enough to support him. Ain't no I in team.
That's right.
Right. So a team sport exalt a star player instead of understanding, like the Pistons, blue collar work ethic incorporated the defense as the anchor, which means everybody is the same amount of important now, right? And they won championships with that. They changed the ideology and they fell apart.
Exactly.
As soon as they started making stars out of one player.
So explain the process of basically how how did the system get usurped? Like how did it get switched out? How did we go from
It was
matriarch? Okay.
so this was what Cleopatra's fight was. In the last dynasty that fought against the Roman Empire. The fall of Cleopatra is your Jesus story, right? But they don't tell you that Jesus is Isis and Cleopatra was the seated Isis of the day. Because that solved a whole lot of the historical anomaly. She was fighting patriarchs from Rome. But this is the continuation of a Babylonian assault on the world using sin magic. That's why they call everybody sinners in the Christian church. And the sin is the blood rites and the child sacrifice rituals that's being done behind the scenes, and you are reinforcing it in the forefront by turning the blind eye to it. You're changing the energy. They're using these pedophile priest cults um, to subjugate the people by ruining the children. They know exactly who to scar, how to scar them, and why they scarring them that way. Some of them, they just beat them into submission. They want to inflict what's called learned helplessness on them. So they can't defend themselves now because they so beat down, they broken. They just lay there and take it, right? So what takes place in Egypt was the transferring and the fighting for power that began in Greece under Alexander the Great. They were following information brought to them from the Ottoman Empire through Macedonians. So when you start looking at how they was moving across the land in history books, it's clear as day the same people was controlling everything that's been controlling it, where they at, why they hiding there, and why ain't nobody going in there to get them. Right? Now that had to be done by the Earth Alliance. The Earth Alliance was responsible to locating all of them and weeding them out like the root to a pimple. Then once Earth go back to balance, women wanted men so that the men can be masculine and the women can be her highest degree of feminine. Because the masculine protects that energy with his life. Because that's how he has the experience called heaven on Earth in this life, not the next one, not after you die, not after you get done suffering unnecessary suffering. Once you realize what's going on, the men become more masculine when they realize that the only reason they here is so the women can be feminine. They wanted to be in a feminine energy. This is called ceremonial high magic. By walking in the spirit of life, you performing a ritual with your sisters. And all of the men go to a euphoria, right? And the euphoria makes the man stand up to a different level. So when they see the men doing the work and they know, they say, oh, I can rest now. They know the chief they've been waiting on because they say to themselves, I've been waiting on this one. He ain't like the rest.
Right. So the word out here on these spiritual streets, okay, that the women were here first before the creation of man. So can you go into
That's been
perspective?
proven through fossil records, through genetics. The Y chromosome is the X with an atrophied appendage, meaning it's lost a sizable portion of its genetic stock. The mitochondrial regulates the energy to the Y chromosome, or else we wouldn't be no men. Because he has to get it from his mother. The higher your spiritual rank, the stronger your mother's mitochondrial responsibility. Then you become the beekeeper, the king bee, protecting the hive from all of these rogue hornets, masquerading to be king bees, and all the time they queen bees, drag queen bees, that is, pedophile priest cults, masquerading as righteous men while they defile children behind the pulpit in the name of their Jesus Christ and Lord and Savior. In order to scorn the name of ISIS, they change it to J. And this is why they say, I'll make you fisher of men. When I turn this I into a J, will you figure it out?
Well, okay. So these men in these skirts, honey, where they had come from? Like, what culture is this? What part in history is this where these men
The
in these
war effort, it's a war effort by the priests of the god Ninnersin. By them practicing the money magic rituals of Ninnersin and having us follow along with the Babylonian sex magic of Ninnersin and the Babylonian money magic where we surrender all our power to somebody else to hold our money on our behalf. Right? These are spells of government. So you look at it like the bees that learn how to control the pheromones can control the hive, right? So if the bee that's changing the frequency, that's going to cause the interruption in the pheromone balance as is told to the next generation of bees. It's the same with the mitochondrial scanning the Y chromosome. This is why Elijah Muhammad say the prayer of the nation is answered through the womb of the women. Right. And that's why you watch what you say while you're pregnant, because you calling forth either the scourge of earth or the saviors of mankind. But that's up to the mothers to decide how do they want to produce for the future. Because the mitochondrial adjusts. It's the energy source. And all energy ties directly back to source. Source energy. Women control it, men inherit it. We become the defenders of the ones who carry the birthright of the earth rights. That's the ones who hold the power over the frequencies of mitochondria. When we realize that, it changes the interaction of everybody on the planet because it becomes more harmonious between the sexes. And that in and of itself, a woman feel like she being flirted with even when ain't nobody else around and she start to blush because she walking in that energy that would make anybody want to flirt.
Never. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. So this Babylonian energy, who and what is Babylonian? Let's go there.
This is the biblical source of all evil on earth.
Mm.
They tell you that in the Bible. In the book of Daniel, it would tell you all of the Babylonian empires. The biblical scholars say that the feat of iron and clay is America, right? So now you got to go cross stories in Priest Temple, if you know the story of the Bible well enough, you can match it up with the other priest stories in order to access information. Right? The Babylonian government ranking system that they had, now they say we are iron and clay. Well, who's done? That's hewn from the mountain without the hands of man, but by the power of God. The stone that no workman has touched, right? Who was sealed in the mountain? Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, right? The story say he was sealed in the mountain for 5,000 years. And then some chick come along and set him free. That means the heart is the key. The monkey key is the Congo key, because the Congo key is the primate key. And the primate is the perfect mate. That's the man that all of the women want, because all of the women want the man that all the other women want. It's the law of nature. They can talk that smack, but they all gonna look at the same direction when the right frequency of the man that they think all the other women in their environment want. Now he become the catch. That's how you create a hierarchy in the community. It's the law of nature acting itself out in the civilized society. So now he driving around in a Cadillac with 3-piece suits on in the summertime.
That's it. That's it.
Wearing all the diamonds and gold that he could find in the local jewelry store.
Okay. Yeah, the pawn shop, you know.
With his exotic Canadian perfume Dior cologne for men.
That's it.
Right?
So, yeah. So this Rome, because this has been going on for a long time. So how initially did they get into power?
Through warfare and infiltration of royal families by inserting children in the place of princes at birth. All the time, they're the bloodline of somebody else. They do it in America now. They kidnap baby chiefs in the hospital and switch them out with somebody that's not like us, and have us raising a child. We can't figure out what his damn problem is. He don't act like nobody in my family. Where they find this SOB? This can't be my child, or they wouldn't act this way. That's not even the energy of his daddy's side of the family. They've been switching babies out the whole time, and they've been telling us they've been switching babies out the whole time. This is why Child Protective Services is the instrumental element of the separation of children from families, in order to put the wrong children with families that don't match their frequency, in order to corrupt the people of the land on purpose. So now we go through what's called the cleansing period, where the ones who understand how to balance the frequency of all tribes, you can only use one frequency, and that's the love frequency. And if you follow the love frequency, then you activate the love energy in the others. And once that energy is activated, you can't trap love in a box. It don't fit. And the people that walk in the power of that energy becomes unstoppable, because now you're starting to tap in to what's called your esoteric self information. Your knowledge of self, from your higher self to yourself, that no book can tell you about yourself. And then you begin to realize you're reading your personal book of life. So now you understand that the only person knew you well enough for you to live the life you live, to become the person you are today, the one you're most proud of, is you. You the author of your story, and you made it fit in so easily